Good morning. This is John Checky, co-founder of Checky Financial. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Now, there are ages and stages and phases to life, which is why I'm a curious George, and I bet you are too. What we're going to talk about today has a great deal to do with your future, especially if you're close to retirement age. What to avoid during retirement. Let me say that again. What to avoid during retirement. First thing we try and help people with is realizing we're trying to help with family harmony more so than retirement planning or financial planning. We used to call that stuff. Really, we're trying to strive for family harmony. But what to avoid? First thing to avoid is not preparing in advance for what your next stage of life is, which you're no longer working for wages. Now, hopefully, you have some activities you're really looking forward to doing. Some of our folks really enjoy camping. They didn't suddenly decide to start camping just in time for retirement. It's something they did on a regular basis. But what to avoid? Before you run out and buy yourself an SUV with a big tow hitch behind it and a trailer behind that, haul it off. You might want to rent one of those. In other words, avoid making snap decisions during retirement. That'd be point number one. Point number two to avoid is try and be aware rather than not of who you really are. And if you're lucky enough to be happily married, who your happily married spouse really truly is. And sit down and discuss what the heck both of you would actually like to be doing. So avoid not having that chat where you'd like to live, what you'd like to be doing, what you do for fun. In all the years you've been married, what has actually come up that actually has worked for you? Now, most folks would like to travel, and I think that is great. Before you travel, we suggest to folks to avoid not doing some research on where they're going. Avoid going in blind unless you just into adventure, and that's really what you want to be now that you're a little bit older. You should be a little bit wiser, walk a little bit slower, look a little bit more affluent, and sadly, try to avoid looking like a potential victim. Someone looks like a walking, talking, golly, let's go ahead and kidnap this person so we can go ahead and collect a ransom. So avoid looking like a victim. Avoid going places that you're not familiar with in terms of researching them in advance. There are lots of folks who've been just about everywhere who can tell you what to expect, what the problems are, what the pitfalls are. So avoid those surprises. Again, unless you love surprises. Might also avoid ignoring health challenges. I've met any number of people over the years that have done their best to pretend that they're still 25 years of age instead of 65 or 75. And instead of taking care of themselves and realizing their ages and stages and phases, just whoosh, dash out into the next stage totally unprepared. So honest to goodness, avoid being unprepared. Cannot emphasize that enough. Another thing to avoid, just for fun, is if you can, try not to tell your church that you're retiring. You should be volunteered for all kinds of different committees and what have you. So kind of keep that quiet in terms of folks until you really are sure just how much time you want to devote. We've had some folks who made wonderful church volunteers and did a great job doing it because they really loved to do it. So again, kind of map out what it is you want to be when you grow up. Also, avoid being isolated. What do I mean by that? In our town, which is Plano, Texas, just two towns up from Dallas, Texas, we have what used to be called the Senior Center. Now it's called the Sam Johnson Recreation Center for adults 50 plus, or just the Sam Johnson Center. Sam Johnson was a decorated war veteran from Vietnam War, a local resident. a longtime local resident and a longtime congressperson from this state, the state of Texas, or the great state of Texas. So he came when it reopened after not the pandemic, but after the shutdown for rehabbing or rehabilitating or renovating the senior center, now the Sam Johnson Center. So lots of people go there. Me too. I serve on the council for that center. My wife teaches yoga there and sings with the New Kings of Swing. So if you like to listen to music that reminds you of when you were a certain age, it's a great idea to go see what the various senior centers in your area have if you enjoy listening to music. In addition to that, we discovered a few years back, that is my wife and I, that rather than avoid letting folks know that are selling you tickets that, hey, guess what? I'm older now. I should qualify for a senior discount. Avoiding senior discounts. It's okay to have white hair and qualify for those things. You can actually do that. Also, avoid, if you can, supporting a whole bunch of other people unless, one, that's your mission in life. Two, you've accumulated all kinds of money to go do that. And three, you have fantastic cash flow now and in the future, because that will shorten the life expectancy of your portfolio. A lot of people, when they get a little older, get real conservative when it comes to investments. And to me, when you have a propensity toward fixed assets, to me, fixed assets have been broken since hello because of low interest rates. So avoid being too conservative with your investments, if at all possible. Hire somebody who has actually helped people retire for many years, because people who've actually been there and done it for, say, 30-something years, and have folks around them that are a lot younger, who now understand the retirement funding process, can be very helpful. Because traditionally, when you buy those age-based funds, which makes me shake my head, sorry, they put a lot of bonds and fixed assets in there. And if they're yielding a rate of return less than inflation, and inflation has spiked up to 6.2% here lately, unless you're making a good 8% on your money, it's going to be very tough to have those fixed assets do anything but reduce your purchasing power and not give you the funding that you'd like over time. So talk to a professional, unless you're really an amazing investor and have been doing it since you were a little kid. But talk to an investing person who can actually do that, especially somebody that promotes family harmony and listens to you. Also, avoid talking to people who, at hello, can tell you exactly what it is you need to buy. We really admire people who, again, much like a doctor, can just guess what it is wrong with you and actually recommend exactly what you need to do for your financial future. We have found over the years that avoiding analyzing your situation is a really bad idea. So if you can avoid not having your situation analyzed to find out what kind of income sources you have, what your asset level is, and just as importantly as those, what kind of lifestyle do you have? What kind of restaurants do you patronage? If you're a person who drinks wine, just how expensive is the wine that you drink? In other words, what kind of lifestyle issues do you have? And the old joke is, if you have several $1 million, but you spend $100,000 a month, you're going to have some pretty good income to go ahead and support that. So again, find out just how long your income and your assets will last based on your lifestyle. And avoid getting too extravagant. At first, however, you might want to avoid just sitting home and hoping for time to pass. Because traditionally, folks who avoid activity and avoid involvement seem to have a very short life expectancy. So unless you're just really anxious to get to go to that final stage of life, in my case, I believe in heaven, be active. Have some things that you really enjoy doing. Years ago, some of our folks really enjoyed going to, of all places, Kroger's grocery store, where they had a little cafe section. And there were a bunch of little old men who, no kidding, gather together on a regular basis. If this type of a discussion kind of stimulates your curiosity, feel free to give us a call at Checky Financial right here on Central Expressway in Richardson, Texas, just a couple of blocks south of the George Bush or President George Bush Turnpike. We're at 972-437-4089. And we have a website called Checky Financial. Have fun, be well, and avoid one, not knowing what the heck it is you want to be when you grow up when it comes to retirement. Avoid people who at hello can tell you exactly what it is you need to invest in. Avoid not having the discussion with your beloved spouse and family in terms of what the heck it is you'd like to be doing during the non-working stage of life. And if you can, before you're ready to volunteer, avoid letting a whole bunch of people know that, hey, I'm retired now. I've got plenty of time to fix whatever it is you need fixing. Have fun. Be well. This is John Checky, and we look forward to following up with you when the time is right for you.